I welcome you all to another informative lecture by Lalpur Khalsa College, Kapurthala Online Pathshala. The topic for today's lecture is types of communication and transmission media and computer networks. So we start with the topic that is type of transmission media. In data communication terminology, a transmission medium is a physical path between the transmitter and the receiver. That is, it is the channel through which data is sent from one place to another. Transmission media is broadly classified into the following types. As clearly shown in the figure, types of transmission media is guided media and unguided media. In guided media, we have twisted pair cables, coaxial cables, optic fiber cables, strip line and microstrip line. And in unguided media, that is the space. So we will be discussing about all these media one by one. Starting with the first media, that is the guided media. It is also referred to as wired or bounded transmission media. Signals being transmitted are directed and confined in a narrow pathway by using physical links. Features of this guided media is high speed, secure, and it is used for comparatively shorter distances. There are three major types of guided media. Number one is the twisted pair cable. It consists of two separately insulated conductor wires wound about each other. Generally, several such pairs are bundled together in a protective sheath. They are the most widely used transmission media. Twisted pair is of two types. As you can see in the figure, the very first figure represents unshielded twisted pair. It is also called UTP. Now, what is a UTP? UTP consists of two insulated copper wires twisted around one another. This type of cable has the ability to block interference and does not depend on a physical shield for this purpose. It is used for telephonic applications. The advantages of UTP are they are least expensive, they are very easy to install, they have a high capacity and high speed, then they are susceptible to external interference, and they are lower capacity and performance in comparison to STP, and short distance transmission is there due to attenuation. So the next figure shows shielded twisted pair, that is STP. This type of cable consists of a special jacket, a copper braid covering or a foil sheet to block external interference. It is used in fast data rate Ethernet and in voice and data channels of telephone lines. The advantages of STP are it has better performance at a higher data rate in comparison to UTP. It eliminates crosstalk. It is comparatively faster. It is comparatively difficult to install and manufacture. It is more expensive and it is bulky. So the next figure shows the third type of guided media, that is the coaxial cable. Now the coaxial cable has an outer plastic covering containing an insulation layer made of PVC or Teflon and two parallel conductors, each having a separate insulated protection cover. The coaxial cable transmits information in two modes, that is baseband mode, which is a dedicated cable bandwidth, and broadband mode, which is a cable bandwidth is split into separate ranges. Cable TVs and analog television networks widely use the coaxial cable technology. What are the advantages of this? Now the advantages of coaxial cables are they have higher bandwidth, they have better noise immunity, they are easy to install and expand, and they are inexpensive. The disadvantage of coaxial cable is single cable failure can disrupt the entire network. The next figure shows optical fiber cable, which is another guided media. Now the optical fiber cable, also called OFC, uses the concept of reflection of light through a core made up of glass or plastic. The core is surrounded by a less dense glass or plastic covering called the cladding. It is used for the transmission of large volumes of data. The cable can be unidirectional or bidirectional. The WDM, that is wavelength division multiplexer, supports two modes, namely unidirectional and bidirectional mode. The advantages of OFC are they have increased capacity and bandwidth, they are lighter in weight, they has less signal attenuation, they have immunity to electromagnetic interference, they have resistance to corrosive materials. The disadvantages of OFC is difficulty to install and maintain, they have higher cost, and they are fragile. Two types of another guided media were there, that is the strip line and microstrip line. Now what is a strip line? Strip line is a transverse electromagnetic, that is TEM, transmission line medium invented by Robert M. Barrett of the Air Force Cambridge Research Center in the 1950s. Strip line is the earliest form of the planar transmission line. It uses a conducting material to transmit high frequency waves. It is also called a waveguide. This conducting material is sandwiched between two layers of the ground plane, which are usually shortened to provide EMI immunity. And the last guided media is microstrip line. In this, the conducting material is separated from the ground plane by the layer of dielectric. So this was all about the guided transmission media. Now moving on to the next type of transmission media, that is the unguided media. It is also referred to as wireless or unbounded transmission media, since no physical medium is required for the transmission of electromagnetic signals. The features of unguided media are: the signal is broadcasted through air, it has less secure, it is used for larger distances. There are basically three types of signals transmitted through unguided media. As you can see in the figure, the very first figure represents the radio waves. Number one are the radio waves. Now what are the radio waves? These are easy to generate and can penetrate through buildings. The sending and receiving antennas need not to be aligned. Frequency range is 3 kHz to 1 GHz. AM and FM radios and cordless phones uses the radio waves for transmission. The next figure shows microwave transmission. Now what is a microwave transmission? It is a line of sight transmission, that is, the sending and receiver antennas need to be properly aligned with each other. The distance covered by the signal is directly proportional to the height of the antenna. Frequency ranges 1 GHz to 300 GHz. These are majorly used for mobile phone communication and television distribution. And the last figure depicts the infrared waves. Now what are the infrared waves? Infrared waves are used for a very short distance communication. They cannot penetrate through obstacles. This prevents interference between systems. Frequency ranges of the infrared waves are 300 GHz to 400 THz. The best example of infrared wave technology is used by the TV remotes, wireless mouse, keyboard, printer, etc. So this was all about today's topic. Thank you.